Oh man, I hate this city.
Roblox, the classic online gaming and game creation platform, full of hundreds of millions of players that can play and create thousands of games. One of the most popular games on the site is Roblox Jailbreak. This game was created by now Duke University senior Alex Balfons, who goes by the handle Badamo, which is what we are going to be referring to him as for the rest of the video. His game racked up thousands of players within the first few days of its release, which is honestly not surprising due to the awesome car chases, crazy variety of weapons and vehicles, extreme action, and wacky physics. In the game, criminals run rampant throughout Jailbreak City while a team of cops hunts them down with a slew of gear, including tasers, road spikes, handcuffs, and explosives devices. You can choose to be either a cop or a criminal in the game. If you choose to be a criminal, then your job is to break out of prison, acquire weapons and vehicles, and rob a multitude of locations across the map while evading capture by the police. If you choose to be a police officer, then your job is to hunt down these criminals to stop them from committing more crimes and either arrest or kill them with the aforementioned equipment. This game is fun at its base, but I tell you, there is nothing more infuriating than a bunch of 11-year-olds who pay real money to have unfair advantages in the game.
Is the dog fucking biting me?
Yeah, they attack you.
Are you fucking serious?
They suck, and I hate them.
That's German Shepherd. I can't even kill the dog, dude.
No,
He's
I
invincible.
know, you can't kill the dogs. That's what I said. They're broken.
Really pay to win. That is pay to win. The dog's still killing me. He's gone, but the dog's still fucking killing. Why? Oh wow! Congratulations, you have a Lamborghini. I'm so glad.
Okay, guys, it's working for me now.
You know your parents hate you.
Where are you?
I'm gonna kill myself if I.
Oh my god, that dog!
I mean, really, sometimes this game just makes you feel like a purple pigment. Of course, this game is more than what it seems at face value. Other than the overly hostile 10-year-olds and complete lack of road traction.
Whoa, we totally just spun out of control.
This game seems to have a deeper, darker message concerning a highly specific, extremely controversial, and totally relevant socio-political issue. This game came out on April 21st, 2017, a few months after the inauguration of former President Donald Trump. Throughout late 2016, at the end of his campaign, Trump continually spoke about his wish to detain and deport the 11 million illegal immigrants that were in the country at the time.
On day one, I'm going to begin swiftly removing criminal illegal immigrants from this country, including removing the hundreds and thousands of criminal illegal immigrants that have been released into the United States and United States communities.
A week after his inauguration, and after he announced his plan to deport these 11 million immigrants, he released the first part of his... He announced his plan to detain and deport the 11 million immigrants in the country, and a week later, he started with the first part of his plan, which was a travel ban from Middle Eastern and Muslim countries. 3.5 months after this, Badamo released the first version of his game, Roblox Jailbreak. All of this talk of border security and the detention of immigrants drew attention to the inhumane conditions at the border detention facilities. Badamo had most likely been pointed in the direction of this situation as a senior in high school. The game he made incorporates a message against police brutality, a message calling for prison reform, and general commentary about the modern justice and policing system into a fun cops and robbers game for children. Prison reform. Let's start off where the criminals start in-game, in the prison. Now, the prison is a key part of the gameplay. All captured criminals end up going to the prison unless they have a high enough bounty, in which case they will be sent to the Supermax prison on an island that is very difficult to escape from unless you have the dexterity of a kinkajou and $25,000. The first task for the criminals is to escape from the prison, and that is most commonly and easily done through the sewers.
It does the thing with the smoke after. Oh my god, it's legit
let's
just
go.
the initial card.
Or come with me, we're gonna escape. We're busting out of here.
Oh, you're prisoners? Need a.
They literally
I need to
arrested
my
you
whip.
for police brutality.
The
I need to soup up my
system
whip.
needs change.
Now, once they get out, that's it. Done with prison. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You wanted more. Well, there isn't more, and that's kind of the point. Vatimo designed this prison to just pull prisoners in and just spit them back out into the real world. There's nothing to do in this prison except to escape. There are plenty of objects in the prison, like weight benches or cafeteria, but none of those are interactable except for the trampolines, which are kind of pointless. Prisoners need to be eased back into society as proper law-abiding citizens, and they do this through educational classes. They have activities to do, and of course supervised yard time, you know, because boys will be boys. The prison in the game used to have a visitation center, but they got rid of that in a recent update, you know, just to restrict the activities of the prisoners even more, you know, because when in Rome. These prisoners now get to either sit and do nothing, or they can escape and go have more fun robbing any place that has money that they can possibly think of.
Are you guys robbing the museum?
No.
I'm robbing shit.
Oh, go! Go!
We're not robbing the
What are you
museum.
doing?
Where are they? I'm not robbing shit, bro.
Go.
You'll never take me alive.
No.
Of course, it's a lot easier to do nothing, but it's way more fun to escape and go back out into the world without being changed at all to continue your life of crime and get that cheese. All of this nothingness in the prison serves to call to attention the inhumane conditions and lack of promotion of change in the modern prison system and your modern border detention facilities, whose harsh conditions have been brought up recently with the 2020 presidential election.
Cages, you know, they used to say, I built the cages, and then they had a picture in a certain newspaper, and it was a picture of these horrible cages, and they said, look at these cages, President Trump built them, and then it was determined they were built in 2014.
As a way to protest these inhumane conditions and call for prison reform and change in the border detention facilities, Vatimo has created his prison in this way to make sure people understand the problems that are currently happening with the prison systems in the real world. Now, once these criminals are released back into Jailbreak City, we obviously can't let them run around unchecked and unbalanced in the city. So, naturally, the best of the best, the top of the line, the city's last defense between the citizens and the devilry of anarchy, the Jailbreak City Police Department is sent in to clean up the streets. These cops are trained to handle intense situations with the greatest bravery and justice, to deal with serious threats in a focused manner in order to defend those citizens they swore to protect, never wavering from their duties to complete each job and deal with each threat with the appropriate response to to make sure that justice is restored to Jailbreak City and that no one will ever fall victim to the evils of crime in the city ever again. Now, in recent months, the merit of this nation's police has been questioned, and that is exactly what Batimo seems to, well, predict. I mean, obviously this game came out 4 years ago and 3 years before the events that really did spark the questioning of the police, but the events in the game definitely mirror some of the change that people have been wanting to push into the modern police departments in this day and age. For example, I can't just walk into the prison with a loaded gun and mow down the first group of prisoners I see, right? I mean, that didn't stop me from doing it, but I didn't get away with it. Now, why is that? It's simply because, number one, it would be unfair to all the children playing as criminals if they could just get killed randomly with no rhyme or reason, but also because it's illegal. See, Batimo here is protesting by having the cops get fined and arrested for killing, arresting, or otherwise harming innocent prisoners. You see, he's showing that there should be a consequence for the bad actions taken by the police. Unfortunately for those kids playing as criminals, once they leave the prison, they are subject to arrest or death for any crimes that they commit.
No way he's still alive. Oh yeah, I nailed him. With the bullets.
Did they shoot first? Doesn't matter. Were they unarmed? Also doesn't matter. As a cop, you can kill anyone or at least injure them to the point of not being able to run away so that you can easily arrest them. Now, this is obviously a different form of protesting than with the killing of innocents, that instead of having there be consequences to show that there should be consequences, they allow the negative actions to just display the fact that these negative actions are happening and that there needs to be change and that there should be consequences. Now, of course, people have been trying to trace this inclination for violence down to the roots of the problem so that they can easily remove it, and of course many people think that it happens during police training, but I can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to walk into a police academy and find a bunch of cops saying how you should shoot to kill unarmed junkies.
You see a man, completely doped
I know
up
the
on...
answer. I know the answer.
You see, I knew this, I shouldn't know this was gonna happen. You see a man completely doped up on fentanyl, what do?
Shoot him. I have the answer. Kill him. Kill him.
You're also not going to see a bunch of cops practicing to shoot unarmed prisoners while base jumping off of cliffs while getting quizzed on whether or not it's okay to use immense brute force while arresting criminals.
Okay,
That means he's illegal.
I did not agree with his signal landing. Mr.
Everybody get in the prison, let's go. Question number 2, as we're walking along. Cruel and unusual punishment is
Oh my gosh, wait,
not allowed. True or false?
It is always allowed.
It's allowed, yeah.
False. It's always
True.
allowed.
In reality, it comes down to the individual who goes against their training on account of their own beliefs. It is difficult, obviously, to root out and eliminate an individual's disposition towards brutality, but of course Jailbreak wants there to be a start of rooting out these inclinations for brutality. Okay, so we have been over the more preeminent issues regarding policing and the justice system today, but there are also still more minor problems that the game addresses. The reason that this major point is called general commentary is because it addresses some tiny details that really explain the larger ideas of how police officers look at the world that they are supposed to protect. These little pieces of commentary are major game mechanics that don't actually get a lot of recognition because of how basic they seem, but they end up being a huge part of the game. Now, one of the biggest mechanics in the game is the difference between being a prisoner and being a criminal, right? Any prisoner is someone in prison, and any criminal is someone outside of prison. However, when outside of jail, it doesn't matter whether or not you've actually done anything wrong, because you can still get arrested or killed by any cop that you see. We all know the basis of the American justice system, innocent until proven guilty. But any cop that's making an arrest is obviously going to think that the person they're arresting is guilty, otherwise they wouldn't be arresting them. And that makes it difficult, for cops to look at, just your average citizen like they're an innocent person. It's not always the best outlook to have on life, police officers. Not everyone is guilty of grand larceny and hate crimes. This general commentary is furthered by the fact that any prisoner is innocent, but is also already in the prison. What the game is saying is that the only people who can't commit crimes are the people who are already under the watchful eye of the government day and night inside these prisons. That view seems a little extreme, but it's meant to be extreme. It's meant to point out the idea that, we shouldn't have this outlook on prisoners and how cops shouldn't look at your average citizen with the idea that they are guilty if they're going to be arrested. The last little bit of commentary from the game's mechanics is the inability to arrest corrupt cops. Now, in Jailbreak, it's kind of hard to be a corrupt cop. So the only thing that you can really do is help criminals escape from jail. Now, there's two ways to do this. One is to let them steal your key cards and then let them walk out the front doors of the prison. And number two is to fly a helicopter into the prison yard, pick up a bunch of prisoners, and fly out.
Go, 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 go.
Oh, I'm leaving.
Of course, being a cop and watching another cop go and help all the prisoners that you just arrested escape is extremely frustrating, but unfortunately there's not much you can do. The most that you can do is to shoot down the helicopter they're in before it's able to leave the prison, but that's of course very difficult to do because helicopters move pretty quickly, and you probably won't be able to fire off enough shots to ground their helicopter within the boundaries of the prison. But of course, if you do manage to ground the helicopter and re-arrest all of the criminals, then there's nothing you can do with the corrupt cop. They get away scot-free, and that is just really super not epic at all. Now, this commentary serves to point out the flaws in the justice system that are more based around the individual and not the system as a whole. See, what Badamo is saying here is that cops can't have such a negative outlook on how criminals work. And the reason that it's easy to tell that this kind of outlook is based on the individual is because of the existence of defense attorneys. If a cop were to arrest someone and think that they were guilty, so that means they were actually guilty, then there wouldn't be a need for defense attorneys, because then that person is definitely not innocent. And that's also the idea behind the innocent until proven guilty standard. So it's kind of a conflicting ideology, but obviously that's what makes the justice system work to the best of its abilities, is the idea that, a criminal might not always be a criminal, and that it's supposed to help protect them from any injustice. Okay, so there's a complete breakdown of Roblox Jailbreak and its messages against the imperfections in our modern justice system. Police brutality is still a problem. Prison reform still needs to happen. And the general negative worldview of police needs to not be a thing. But Badamo is helping to draw attention to these negative aspects of the justice system so that they may be changed in the future for the betterment of our society. However, Badamo isn't necessarily saying that the police should be defunded or that the police should be downright done away with. All he's doing is pointing out their imperfections. If Badamo wanted to get rid of the police, then obviously he wouldn't have made the police such a key aspect of his game. Badamo continues to acknowledge the merit of the good police officers while still pointing out the ill-reputed negative actions of the police officers that tarnish the idea of what the police is supposed to be. In fact, you could go so far as to say that Badamo made this instead not to point out the flaws, but instead to remind the people that even though there are flaws, the police are still doing the best they can to clean up our streets, keep our citizens safe, and protect people from crime and criminals. So, whenever you play another Roblox game, keep in mind, there might be more to it than what it actually seems to be at face value. Also, I implore you, please overanalyze the living out of every single Roblox game that you ever see or play in the future, because I accidentally got in the habit of doing that and I want you all to suffer with me. Remember, cops are usually good people. It's just that a lot of bad eggs are getting a lot of the attention for doing bad things. Badamo recognizes this and continues to acknowledge the merit of the police while also pointing out their flaws and imperfections so that those flaws and imperfections may be changed in the future. Don't lose faith in the police because of a few terrible people. Remember, not all cops are bad.
Nah, brutality's fun.